Have you ever wondered what happens when you take the world's most advanced race car, strip away all the rules, and let engineers go wild? Well, in 2018, Porsche gave us the answer with the 919 Hybrid Evo, a car so fast it made Formula One look like they were stuck in first gear. Porsche isn't just any car manufacturer. When it comes to motorsport, they're royalty. Since their first race at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1951, they've become the undisputed kings of the track. We're talking about a staggering 108 class wins and 19 overall victories. That's not just impressive, it's downright domination. But the story of the 919 Hybrid Evo begins in 2014 when Porsche decided to return to top-tier racing after a decade-long hiatus. They unveiled the 919 Hybrid at the Geneva Motor Show, and it was clear from the get-go that this wasn't just another race car. This was Porsche flexing its engineering muscles. The original 919 Hybrid was a marvel of modern engineering. At its heart was a compact 2.0-liter V4 turbocharged engine producing around 500 horsepower. But that was just the start. The car also featured two energy recovery systems, one harvesting energy from braking, the other from exhaust gases. This hybrid system could boost the total power output to over 900 horsepower. But here's where it gets really interesting. The 919 Hybrid was the only car among LMP1 manufacturers to recover energy from both the exhaust system and braking. Despite all this tech, the car was still incredibly light, weighing in at just 875 kilograms. How did they manage that T? Well, the chassis and body were made with a combination of carbon fiber and aluminum, giving it the perfect blend of strength and lightness. The car's aerodynamics weren't an afterthought either. Porsche's engineers spent over 2,000 hours in wind tunnels, fine-tuning every curve and edge. That's more time than most of us spend on our smartphones in a year. When the 2014 season kicked off, all eyes were on the 919 Hybrid. Its first outing at the 6 Hours of Silverstone saw it finish a respectable third. But Le Mans? Well, that's a different beast altogether. The 919th struggled, finishing 11th, a full 31 laps behind the winning Audi. It was a tough pill to swallow for a team used to dominating, but Porsche went back to the drawing board, tweaked, adjusted, and improved. From 2015 to 2017, the 919 Hybrid became the car to beat in the World Endurance Championship. It racked up 3 consecutive Le Mans victories and dominated the championship. By 2017, the 919 Hybrid had become a finely tuned racing machine. About 60% of its recovered energy came from the kinetic energy recovery system, which charged the lithium-ion batteries under braking. The remaining 40% came from the exhaust recovery system. This made the 919th the only prototype to recover energy during both braking and accelerating. But then, in a move that shocked the racing world, Porsche announced they were leaving the WEC at the end of 2017. After 3 years of mastering the regulations and pushing the boundaries of speed and endurance, they were calling it quits. But Porsche had one last trick up their sleeve. Instead of quietly retiring the 919 Hybrid, Porsche decided to give it one last hurrah. They asked themselves a simple question: what if we threw away the rulebook? And thus, the 919 Hybrid Evo was born. The creation of the Evo version was like unleashing a group of genius engineers in a playground with no rules. Imagine spending years learning how to skydive, only to be told you can't jump. That's how these engineers must have felt every time they had to tune down engines and reduce speeds to meet regulations. Now, they were free to push the limits. First up, they gave the car a massive horsepower boost. Without fuel flow restrictions, the V4 engine now produced a whopping 720 horsepower, up from 500. The electric motor got a 10% boost too, pumping out 440 horsepower. Combined, the 919 Hybrid Evo produced 1,160 horsepower. That's enough power to make an average supercar look like a golf cart. But power wasn't enough. They needed to make the car stick to the track like glue. The aerodynamics package was completely overhauled, resulting in 53% more downforce than the WEC Spec 919 Hybrid. A huge part of this came from a massive new rear wing, which, despite its size, actually generated less drag on the straights. Porsche claimed this gave the 919 Hybrid Evo more downforce than the average Formula One car. Then came the weight loss program. Without the burden of WEC regulations, Porsche put the 919 on a strict diet. They stripped out everything that wasn't absolutely necessary: air conditioning, windscreen wipers, even the headlights. The result was a lean, mean racing machine weighing just 849 kilograms. But they didn't stop there. A four-wheel brake-by-wire system was installed, along with modified power steering and beefed-up suspension. Even tire manufacturer Michelin got in on the action, developing new compounds to offer more grip without compromising safety. With all these modifications, the 919 Hybrid Evo was ready to show the world what it could do. On April 9, 2018, the car made its way to the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium. This 7-kilometer track is a favorite among drivers and fans for its long straights and challenging corners. It was the perfect stage for Porsche's grand finale. The previous year, the 919 Hybrid had set a pole position time of 1 minute and 54.097 seconds. With Neil Johnny behind the wheel, the 919 Hybrid Evo obliterated that time, clocking in at 1 minute and 41.770 seconds. That's more than 12 seconds faster. To put that into perspective, in motorsport, teams spend months working on upgrades that might shave off a few tenths of a second. The 919 Hybrid Evo had just found 12 whole seconds. This wasn't just faster than the WEC spec 919 Hybrid. This time was faster than any Formula One car had ever lapped Spa. The 919 Hybrid Evo had just beaten the track record set by Lewis Hamilton in a Mercedes F1 car by 0.783 seconds. The last time Porsche had raced in Formula One was 1964, but here they were in 2018, showing the pinnacle of motorsport how it's done. During this record-breaking run, Johnny hit a top speed of 359 kilometers per hour on the Kemmel Straight and maintained an average speed of 245.61 kilometers per hour around the entire lap. Through the infamous Eau Rouge corner, one of the most thrilling and dangerous turns in motorsport, Johnny was clocking 307 kilometers per hour. When asked about the experience, Johnny could barely contain his excitement. He said it was the fastest car he had ever driven, which, coming from a professional racing driver, is saying something. But it wasn't just the speed that impressed him. The level of grip, he said, was unimaginable and in a fully new dimension. The speed at which everything happened was so overwhelming that Johnny had to significantly alter his reaction times just to keep the car on track. But the 919 Hybrid Evo wasn't done breaking records. In June 2018, it set its sights on the holy grail of lap records, the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Known as the Green Hell, this 20.8-kilometer track is considered one of the most demanding in the world. The previous record, set in 1983 by Stefan Bellof in a Porsche 956C, stood at 6 minutes and 11.13 seconds. With Timo Bernhard at the wheel, the 919 Hybrid Evo didn't just break this record, it absolutely demolished it. Bernhard lapped the Nordschleife in an astonishing 5 minutes and 19.55 seconds. That's nearly a minute faster than a record that had stood for 35 years. Bernhard later attributed this mind-bending performance to downforce levels he had never experienced before. The car's unique aerodynamics allowed him to take some of the most precarious sections of the track at full throttle. "I'm pretty familiar with the Nordschleife," he said, "but today I got to learn it in a new way." The Formula One world was stunned when Lewis Hamilton announced his move to Ferrari for the 2025 season. This unexpected shift has left fans and analysts questioning the circumstances surrounding Hamilton's departure from Mercedes, his home for over a decade. Toto Wolff, Mercedes team principal, has now come forward with revelations about Hamilton's final season that provide new insights into this major change in the F1 landscape. The 2024 season proved to be one of the most challenging in Lewis Hamilton's illustrious career. George Russell, Hamilton's teammate, outqualified him 19 times to 5, a stark contrast in qualifying performance that was unprecedented for Hamilton. The challenges extended beyond qualifying. Russell finished the season 22 points ahead of Hamilton in the driver's standings, marking only the third time in Hamilton's career that he was outscored by a teammate over a full season. For a driver of Hamilton's caliber, accustomed to leading both his team and the championship, this result was particularly disappointing. Key moments of frustration punctuated the season, offering glimpses into Hamilton's state of mind. A notable incident occurred after a poor performance at the São Paulo Grand Prix. Hamilton's radio message to his team was, "If this is the last time that I get to perform, it's a shame it wasn't great, but grateful for you." This cryptic communication led to widespread speculation about Hamilton's future in the sport. The speculation intensified when Hamilton later admitted in Las Vegas that he had briefly considered not finishing the season. In the moment, that's how I felt. I didn't really want to come back after that weekend. Hamilton himself acknowledged the frustration of the season, stating, "It's frustrating when you have a season like this, which I'm pretty sure I won't have again, or at least I'll work towards not having again." These statements painted a picture of a driver grappling with disappointment and uncertainty, fueling rumors about his commitment to Mercedes during his final season. Rumors and speculation had Hamilton mentally checked out. As news of Hamilton's impending move to Ferrari began to circulate, rumors about his commitment to Mercedes during the 2024 season started to swirl. Some suggested that Hamilton had mentally checked out, focusing more on his future with Ferrari than his present with Mercedes. F1 journalist Ben Hunt speculated on the James Allen F1 podcast. He handed his notice in at the start of the year, and he was serving his notice he'd kind of checked out. This perception was fueled by Hamilton's uncharacteristic performance dips and his sometimes cryptic public statements. In light of these rumors, Toto Wolff's recent statements come as a surprise to many. Speaking to Automotor on Sport, Wolff firmly denied claims that Hamilton had mentally checked out or was more focused on Ferrari than Mercedes during the 2024 season. Wolff stated, "I don't think his head was in his new team yet. Lewis is too professional for that." This defense of Hamilton's professionalism stands in stark contrast to the prevailing narrative. Wolff went further, pointing to Hamilton's performance in the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi as evidence of his strong commitment. In that race, Hamilton started from a disappointing 16th position due to a poor strategic call by the team. However, he charged through the field to finish 4th, even overtaking his teammate Russell on the final lap. Wolff commented on this performance, saying, "That performance showed the Lewis we all know, a fighter until the end." This race, according to Wolff, exemplified Hamilton's dedication to Mercedes right up to his final moments with the team. While defending Hamilton's commitment, Wolff also offered insights into the technical challenges that may have contributed to Hamilton's difficulties during the 2024 season. He pointed to a fundamental mismatch between Hamilton's driving style and the current generation of F1 cars introduced under the 2022 ground effect regulations. Wolff explained, "This generation of car doesn't suit Lewis. He brakes late and hits the car aggressively into the corners. The car and the tires sometimes don't forgive that. This is more noticeable in qualifying than in the race." This explanation sheds light on Hamilton's qualifying woes in particular. Since the introduction of the ground effect regulations in 2022, Hamilton has secured only one pole position at the 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix. For a driver who had previously amassed a record 103 pole positions, this dramatic drop-off in qualifying performance is striking. Wolff's comments suggest that the current F1 cars may be less forgiving of Hamilton's aggressive driving style, particularly in the high-pressure, low-fuel scenarios of qualifying. This technical factor could explain why Hamilton, despite his vast experience and skill, found himself consistently outpaced by his younger teammate in qualifying sessions. As we look ahead to the 2025 season, all eyes will be on Hamilton as he dons the iconic red of Ferrari. The move represents a significant shift in the F1 landscape and a new challenge for the 7-time world champion. The key question is whether Ferrari can provide Hamilton with a car that better suits his driving style. If they can, we might see Hamilton recapture the form that made him the most successful driver in F1 history. However, adapting to a new team environment after 12 years with Mercedes will undoubtedly present its own challenges. Wolff, despite the impending loss of his star driver, expressed nothing but good wishes for Hamilton's future. "He remains one of the greatest drivers of all time, and we were lucky to have him in our team for so long. I wish him all the best at Ferrari." These words from Wolff underscore the mutual respect that exists between Hamilton and Mercedes, even as their professional relationship comes to an end. With Hamilton's departure, Mercedes finds itself at the beginning of a new era. The team has made the bold decision to replace Hamilton with 18-year-old Italian driver Kimi Antonelli. This move signals a clear shift towards the future for Mercedes. In a surprising twist, Wolff admitted to feeling a sense of relief over Hamilton's departure. This admission came in light of Mercedes' plans to promote young talent Kimi Antonelli. Another factor that may have contributed to Hamilton's departure was Mercedes' inability to offer him a lengthy contract. Wolff disclosed that the team was looking towards their junior program, which made it difficult to commit to Hamilton long-term. This situation likely played a role in Hamilton's decision to seek new opportunities elsewhere. As Hamilton prepares to join Ferrari, expectations are high for both the driver and the team. Ferrari CEO Benedetto Vigna expressed the team's excitement, stating, "We're really going to have a good time with him and Charles Leclerc." Interestingly, reports suggest that Charles Leclerc, Hamilton's new teammate, requested to be present during Hamilton's simulator session. This move by Leclerc serves two purposes. It allows him to observe the work methods of one of the most successful drivers in Formula One history, and it ensures that Hamilton isn't left alone with the technical staff, potentially preserving Leclerc's established relationships within the team. The partnership between Hamilton and Leclerc at Ferrari is set to be one of the most intriguing storylines of the 2025 season. Both drivers are known for their exceptional speed and fierce competitive spirit, which could lead to intense on-track battles. Gary Anderson, a former F1 designer turned pundit, predicted a potential showdown between Hamilton and Leclerc, particularly at the Monaco Grand Prix. Anderson warned of a shift in team atmosphere, suggesting that Ferrari might initially back Hamilton over Leclerc due to the significant investment they've made in the British driver. One of the key questions surrounding Hamilton's move to Ferrari is whether he will be able to adapt to their car more effectively than he did to the recent Mercedes models. Ferrari's 2025 car, codenamed Project 677, is reported to be completely new, according to team principal Frederick Vasseur. This presents both an opportunity and a challenge for Hamilton. On one hand, a completely new car design could potentially be more suited to his driving style. On the other hand, it will require Hamilton to quickly adapt to an entirely new machine, which could prove challenging given his recent struggles with the current generation of F1 cars. Hamilton's departure from Mercedes marks the end of one of the most successful partnerships in F1 history. During his time with the team, Hamilton secured 6 of his 7 world championships and helped Mercedes to 8 consecutive constructors' titles from 2014 to 2021. As for Hamilton himself, this move represents perhaps the final chapter in his illustrious career. At 40 years old, he will be looking to add to his already impressive legacy by bringing success to Ferrari, a team that hasn't won a driver's championship since 2007. Christian Horner hits back at George Russell's claims about Red Bull's struggles and Verstappen's behavior, exposing the fierce F1 rivalries and defending his team's resilience. This clash of titans has its roots in the contrasting fortunes of Red Bull over the past 2 seasons. To fully grasp the magnitude of this situation, we need to examine the events that led to this confrontation, starting with Red Bull's extraordinary performance in the 2023 season. That year, Red Bull Racing achieved a level of dominance rarely seen in the sport's history. The team secured an astounding 22 victories out of 23 races, a feat that left their competitors in awe and, perhaps, a touch of despair. This unprecedented success set an incredibly high bar for the following season, creating expectations that would prove challenging to meet. As the 2024 season unfolded, the landscape began to shift dramatically for Red Bull. The team found itself facing a series of unexpected hurdles, both in terms of personnel changes and on-track performance. It was against this backdrop of uncertainty and change that the controversy between Horner and Russell began to brew. The catalyst for this confrontation came during the 2024 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. George Russell, known for his forthright nature, made some pointed comments about Max Verstappen and the Red Bull team. These remarks were not merely casual observations, but contained serious allegations about the internal dynamics of Red Bull racing. Russell's comments were particularly scathing when discussing Verstappen's behavior during challenging race situations. He stated, "I'm not questioning his driving abilities one single bit, but the second he does not have the fastest car, let's take Budapest as an example, he crashes into Lewis, he slams his whole team, and he loses the plot." This reference to the Budapest race was not arbitrary. During that event, Verstappen had indeed been involved in a collision with Lewis Hamilton and had subsequently criticized his own team's strategy. The incident had created tension within the Red Bull camp, but Russell's comments brought it back into the spotlight, reigniting the controversy. However, Russell didn't stop there. He went on to make a startling claim about the aftermath of this incident. He said, straight away after that race, 25% of his engineering team were sending their CVs to Mercedes, to McLaren, to Aston Martin, because they said they can't deal with a guy like that.